Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about my new favorite full-size flashlight. This is from Thrunite. It is the TC15. I say my new favorite full-size flashlight. What do I mean by full-size? Basically the biggest light I would actually carry for an EDC light. Now, for testing purposes, I did carry this. Although I don't have plans to carry it in the future, this is going to be a dedicated car flashlight. You guys know in the last year or so, I really gravitated towards much smaller flashlights for EDC. I mean, literally day in, day out. A single AA or a single AAA light has a lot of advantages, in my opinion, just because the ease of finding batteries. You can find AA's or AAA's everywhere. Not only that, but it's very small and very lightweight. A flashlight may not be something you're using every day, but it's always a good thing to have on you. It's something I've had on me for a very long time. That's why I like these small ones, because I'm not always using it. So something like a full size, and this is what I consider a full size, using a single 18650 battery, that's big. This is big for a lot of people. It's not something I would normally carry every day, but I wouldn't go bigger than this. This is still actually comfortable to carry. Although this came with a sheath, I decided to pop on the pocket clip, carry this on the left side of my body, left side front pocket, just because I have a lot going on my right side. And it was fine, honestly. Even though it's a larger flashlight, it's totally comfortable to actually carry. You don't have to use the pocket clip. You could just slip it in the pocket if you wanted to, if you don't carry a bunch of other gear like I do. But the huge disadvantage to the smaller lights is that next level output, all right? These single AA and single AAA flashlights, you get a couple hundred lumens out of them if you get a good one. But if you want more light like that, some people will gravitate more towards the smaller, like let's say single CR123 lights. Yes, if you're using a CR123, you could still go with a smaller package, something that's smaller like this. That's going to have a little bit more output, maybe past 1,000, mark. But you're not going to find, many lights on the market that are going to really blow you away as far as being bright. And this thing is seriously, seriously bright. 2,300 lumens on the turbo mode. This does have plenty of other modes, which we'll get into in a minute. But that's a lot of bang for your buck. These are selling for $50 on Amazon. I think it's $60 direct from their website, but there is discount codes, all over the place you could find. Amazon, obviously, it's beneficial to use, through the Amazon page if you happen to have like Prime or something, so you get the free fast shipping. But anyway, real quick, let me show you what this comes with. All right, standard cardboard box, charging cable, which is included, which is nice. You guys saw the back, but there's a little charging port. All right. So you also get the paperwork, gives you the rundown. You get an accessories pouch. There's all kinds of stuff in here, some extra spare O-rings. There's a lanyard you could put through the bottom here if you wanted to. You can see the little lanyard hole. All right, and you also get a spare rubber piece that goes underneath your cap. And you also get a spare charging port cover. All right, which is very nice. You can see this is a rubber ring that goes through a slot on the head, and then you have your actual little cap. That's huge. Not a lot of flashlights come with that. It is rubber. There is a weak point right there. All right, so if you're really tugging on it a lot or opening, closing all the time, charging it, the first couple weeks you're gonna get gear. Stuff like this is not gonna break. All these things are for like a year later, 2 years later. If you're actually using your lights pretty hard, things like that do break. And it's really nice that they include that right off the bat, so you have a replacement if needed. All right, little moisture absorber. You don't need that. Those are a little thanks for buying our light. And the sheath. Now, again, I said I didn't use the sheath. They always carry very nicely. Because it's a larger light, it might be an option that you want to do. If you're like me and you carry a bunch of gear, you might want to start using something like this as opposed to using the pocket clip and putting it directly in the pocket. It's nice because it frees your pockets up. For me, however, because I do carry a firearm on the right side, I start to feel like a cop or something with a big utility belt. I don't like hanging a lot of stuff off the belt, but occasionally I will use something like this if I want to EDC a larger flashlight for a longer period of time. But in this particular case, I did not use it, but it seems like it worked totally fine. You can see a D-ring on the back, so you can put a carabiner on here and just have it hanging if you wanted to off your belt loop on your pants or something. And there's also just a regular strap you can fish your belt through if needed. So let's put all this stuff off to the side here. All right, I will mention real quick that when charging this, there is a charging indicator or battery life indicator. So you turn this on, blue means you're good to go. Obviously, if it's red, it's low on power, so it's telling you need to charge it. If there's some kind of problem, which I've never seen before, but it's supposed to flash purple, that just means something's wrong. Like if you're plugging it in and you're charging it, if it's flashing purple, unplug everything and try again or contact them. Never had that personally happen, but I always read that in the instructions. So just a quick little note there. Also, another note when you're charging this is the low mode and the Firefly mode, you're able to use those while you're charging. So if you're out camping or something, you have a battery pack and you happen to run out of power and you really need that light, you can charge it and still use it at the same time. But again, it's only the Firefly mode or the low mode. So real quick, let me show you this paperwork so I don't have to tell you all the run times and all that stuff, which is boring to some people. All right, you can pause your screen right there and you can see the outputs and the run times. All right, turbo, high, medium, low, Firefly, and strobe. Now I'll tell you a real quick story as far as the strobe goes. When I first got this light, I was playing around with it in my office, which is like a, I don't know, I think it's a 9 by 10 foot room. And I have white walls in there. And I had this light and I was just kind of going through all the modes and just checking everything out. And turbo was pretty impressive, and I went to strobe. This strobe on this light is so bright that I got disorientated in my own room. I was facing it away from me at a white wall. It reflected back. This was at night, all right, so I didn't have much ambient light in the room. Just had a little lamp on, so it wasn't that bright in the room itself. But there was enough light to literally reflect off the wall about 4 or 5 feet away and back into my own eyes, and completely, you know, was distracting. So I had to shut it off right away and just literally kind of wait a second for my eyes to readjust. That's how bright this thing was. So I don't recommend using strobe indoors. Obviously don't point it at any people or animals that you like. It is very effective for disorientating something if you have a threat. And that's another thing too, is a lot of people, when you say threat, people automatically assume like other people, like you're getting robbed or there's some kind of altercation with another human. I live out in the woods. I worry a lot about animals as much as I do people. If I happen to be walking and there's a bear or something like that, having a strobe feature on a super bright flash like this, that could really help you. You know, I don't want to, you know, have to take out a firearm or you know, hurt an animal if I don't have to. If I could distract it my flashlight and have it, you know, kind of run off, that's the goal. You know what I mean? So it's a huge benefit if you happen to live in a place like I do where there's just tons of wildlife. All right, threatening wildlife. Obviously, you're not going to be blinding squirrels and stuff. But yeah, it's bright. 2,300 lumens is, I don't know, hard to explain if you've never experienced a flashlight like that. That's why if you're going to go with something a little bit bigger, you want something for that. And that's what you're getting in exchange compared to a single AA or AAA light. It is rechargeable, which is very nice. It does hold that power for quite a long time if you're using it on some of the lower modes. A quick note as well, that 2,300 lumens will last about 2 minutes. All right, then it's going to drop down automatically to 820 lumens, and it's going to last about, I think it's 1.5 hours, 1.3 hours, something like that. And I've talked about that in the past too. When you see like turbos or full outputs for light, it's not the entire time it's on. And it usually just lasts a little while, but sometimes it's like, you know, 30 seconds, a minute. 2 full minutes on turbo is plenty of time to use whatever you need your flashlight for in most cases. Not all cases, but most times when I use my flashlight, I probably use it anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds, you know, things like that. If I'm doing some kind of a project, then I'll put it on a lower mode, but that's kind of rare. I don't do that quite often. Usually it's just full blast for a few seconds, whatever I'm looking at. A lot of times it's looking at wildlife. I'll be driving and I'll see something run across the road. I'll kind of stop, put my hazards on, whip out the flashlight that I have in the car, and that's where this is going to go. This is going to be my dedicated, you know, vehicle flashlight, and try to get good pictures or videos or whatever. So as a side note, this does come with the battery. All right, not all flashlights do, but this one is a 3100 milliamp hour 18650. So as far as the different modes, I mean, it's like pretty much every other Thrunite light. In the off position, if you hold down the button, it goes right to our Moonlight Mode, all right, which is like a lumen or half a lumen or something like that. For ridiculous run times, it'll literally stay on for a month. But when the flashlight is normally on, if you hold it down, it'll cycle through 3 different modes: low, medium, high. And at any point, you can double click to go right to that turbo. And once it's on turbo, if you double click it again, that's when you get your strobe. All right, so from off, it's gonna be 4 clicks to strobe. All right, so if it's in your pocket, there's some kind of emergency, You grab it, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, there's your strobe mode. It's definitely something worth practicing. Obviously, if there's some kind of emergency, you don't want to have to remember, hey, wait a minute, and kind of fiddle with your light, and no, what's going on? Where's my strobe? Like anything else, practice is very good, all right? So it's kind of like second nature to just grab your light and go right to strobe. It's a little bit hard if you go through tons of different gear and you're using, you know, different flashlights all the time. Sometimes you forget where the strobe mode is, but, you know, Thrunite's been pretty consistent as far as, you know, where their modes are and how it works, the UI. So that is the TC15. For $50, I think you're getting a lot for your money. It does have plenty of features. Like I said, about the biggest I would ever go for, you know, an actual EDC light. But it's throwing out a heck of a lot of light there. Actually, you know what? Let's go outside and give you a quick little beam shot before we go, so you can see what this thing is capable of. All right, guys. So quick little shot outside here, so you can see what it's capable of. There's turbo mode. All right, it's about 10 feet in front of me. It goes all the way down to the end of the road. You get shot up in the trees here. I mean, it is an extremely capable light for an EDC. Probably more light than you're ever going to need. You probably end up using, you know, like the medium and lower modes for most indoor stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's bright. I can tell you on the turbo mode, it does get a little bit warm in the hands, but there's technology so that it'll shut off if the LED ever gets higher than 80 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, just to protect the light so nothing breaks. Yeah, it's a bright light. I like it a lot. So anyway, that is it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you.